Welcome to episode 178 of the Beefy Boys Breakdown. I'm Harris. You're Harrison. I'm Dominic, joined by my good friend Harrison. We're going to be breaking down, recapping this UFC fight night. Sandhagen versus Umar Nurmagomedov took place in Abu Dhabi. Pretty solid fight night card. You know, they gave the Abu Dhabi crowd a good one. And, we're going to start with this main event because it's super consequential for the bantamweight division. We may have a new number one contender on our hands, man.
Honestly, and not to mention all the hype that comes behind. Obviously, we'll be talking about Umar here shortly, but just as the new challenger, right? We've always known Corey as a top flight competitor. Hell, me and you have talked about how we would love to see him fight Sean. It's a dream fight based on matchup. But unfortunately, you got the boogeyman style of a Nurmagomedov lurking in Umar. And yeah, Umar takes on Sandhagen. Huge favorite here. I did not think the line was justified.
Yeah, the fight ended up being close. It's like weird. It's a close fight, but with a not close scorecard, basically, at least on most people's cards. Me and Harrison had the privilege and good time of watching this together at the Peppermill Casino. But
yes, sir.
As a result, there was no sound on, and we're in a casino sports book, and we had our other friend joining us, so there was some distraction. So I went back and rewatched it, and I got a different scorecard the second time around, more so than the first time around. So I'm going to be basing most of my takes and off my rewatch notes, because I think they were more accurate. I was paying a little closer attention. I was a little more sober.
Absolutely. I'm imagining it's going to come down to just changing the score of 1 or 2 rounds at most here, right?
Yes, my rounds 1, 2, and 4 all changed. So I actually scored 3 rounds differently. And like when I was watching it without sound with the distractions, it seemed a lot murkier than it was. When I was actually dialed in, I was at my house by myself watching, and I don't even think necessarily the commentary affected it, but it's just like the only round that was like super hard to score.
I would say 1, right? Because it's so inactive from both guys. I mean, Umar shoots 3 takedowns, doesn't get 1, but Corey does no damage because he's defending takedowns the whole round. But if a guy that essentially needs takedowns to win can't get him, it's like, who's winning?
When Umar did get that 4th and final one, but it was like 30 seconds left in the round, he took the bag, didn't do any damage. I feel you. And then Corey didn't really do any damage because he was defending brilliantly. This is one of the rounds I had to change. Like watching live, I think just that knee-jerk reaction of like seeing Umar's takedowns be defended that, like, I don't want to say easily, but kind of like Corey like laid the blueprint for sure. Like if O'Malley and Umar ever do fight, O'Malley has a pretty solid blueprint on like how to defend these Umar takedowns. So he should send Sandhagen an edible arrangement or something for kind of testing out those waters. Being the Lewis and Clark of how to form a game plan for Umar. But that being said, yeah, when I was watching live, I think I was so shocked at the success Sandhagen was having defending the takedowns that I scored him the round. But upon rewatching it, Sandhagen did no offense at all. Like it was really good defense. It was, and as a former defensive football player, I've had games like that where we pitch a shutout. I literally had a game. We were playing up a whole division in college. Playing, I guess it would be FCS school or FBS. I always mix those up, but we were playing what used to be 1AA. And
who was it?
Houston Baptist, and we're at Houston Baptist.
They're getting close to D1, like really close, because they used to be an Incarnate Words conference, and Incarnate Word left and went up to Major D1.
We were NAIA, so they were maybe even 2 divisions above us.
Right.
And our defense pitched a shutout up until halfway through the third quarter.
Chest
out a little bit.
But it's but even if you're pitching a shutout, is your offense also getting shut out?
No. QB threw 3 pick sixes. More for the other team than he did our own team.
Bro, very reminiscent of a Bears-Cardinals game where the Bears scored 21 points defense, 3 on special teams, won the game. That's the infamous Romeo Cornell. They are who we thought they were.
So that being said, that was Corey Sandhagen. Defense was perfect, but you didn't score, you didn't beat. So that's a lot of talk over one round. But kind of a nuance around the score.
Super important because that is the theme of this whole fight, is that Corey's defense is going to be so necessary for him to make it through the rounds that he's unable to get good offense at almost any. Round 2, I actually thought he started to get good offense off.
Yeah, and round 2 is another one. So initially, first time watching at the sports book, scored round 2 to Umar. I scored round 1 to Sandhagen, 2 to Umar when I was watching him with the distractions. On my rewatch, I flipped those. Because in round 2, Sandhagen starts landing those left hooks, and he put Umar on the back foot for like 4 minutes of that round. He started marching Umar down.
He defends that initial takedown and then immediately starts walking forward. I do recall that because me and you both talked about how optically that was a Sandhagen round. Honestly, optically, the first 2 almost both were. It was just that late takedown that kind of saved Umar.
Left hooks is what separates round 2 from round 1 for me. Like, Sandhagen was landing that left hook. Now, he wasn't like wobbling Umar, but he was landing that left hook like pretty cleanly, like pretty nicely, which will come full circle because later in the fight, Umar was able to start countering that left hook. He started going to the well with it, but round 2, he hadn't made that read yet, and the left hook was landing. So, yeah, you combine that with putting Umar on the back foot. I gave 2 to Sandhagen upon my rewatch. I flip-flopped those rounds on the rewatch. You feel similarly?
Yeah, I absolutely do. I mean, after we even talked about it, because originally I had it scored the exact same as you, but I actually didn't have it scored the same as you. I had 1 to Sandhagen, all the rest were to Umar. I had 49-46 Umar. One judge actually does have that scorecard, Ben Cartledge. Now, the problem that I had in my own head once we talked about it was that you're right. If I'm going to score 1 for Sandhagen, I have to score 2 for him. But
would.
I can score 2 for him and not have to give him 1, and I felt more comfortable that way about it. So, upon rewatch, same score, different rounds. The 1 and 2 flip there for me as well. One judge does have that scorecard, David Lethaby.
Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Now, round 3, I thought was probably the easiest round to score, or maybe the second easiest. Probably round 5 is the easiest. But this was another round, very similar to 1, where Sandhagen just defended the whole round. And you can say he defended well. He did defend well. I mean, that's a factual statement, but just wasn't landing that left hook. Umar started marching forward. He couldn't keep Umar on the back foot like he did in 2. So not the most electrifying round. And it's not like Umar got a bunch of damage dropped, but he just forced Corey to play defense.
What I thought that was really impressive that Corey did in this fight for everyone else in the bantamweight division is he gave a super specific and important blueprint about grabbing the leg on Umar whenever he's trying to circle your back or you're in a transition. If you can control one of his legs, he almost certainly can't get the position he needs to choke you out or do the damage he wants.
And Corey did a good job of, like, when he did get taken down and when he was defending his takedowns, he was doing it in the middle of the octagon as opposed to on the cage. That was huge.
That's actually huge. It's a great point because of the freestyle movement. Like, usually Khabib and those guys like to press you on the cage and use it as a wall to hold you against. Whereas if they don't have that, plenty of times Corey was able to, like, dive underneath with a knee bar, get into a scramble, and essentially he might not even get out of the position, but he would get into this weird stalemate where neither guy really could find good success in the position.
And he would always be higher than Umar, like he would elevate.
He made a good point to do that. Like, he had a lot of, like, basic wrestling principles that he never abandoned, and it was what made him so defensively sound. I was really impressed with it, but man, I think, like, my biggest takeaway is that he left his offense at the door when he packed his defensive bag.
Yeah, and he probably spent too much of his camp working on defense.
I almost like Sean O'Malley's approach of he essentially goes out and says, I'm just going to knock him out when he shoots, like he did to Aljo. How he negated Peter Yan's wrestling was, I'm going to catch him with knees when he tries to do that dumb shit. I like that approach.
But Sean has more power in his hands than Corey. Corey doesn't have the power in his hands to implement that kind of style.
I could not agree more.
Think about that potential future O'Malley matchup for
Right,
sure.
that's what I'm saying. Because I think, not to belabor it, but I thought 4 is close. Corey did a lot, and if he had done a little more damage in 4, I think he has a way to steal that round, but he once again lacks the damage. And then 5, I thought Corey should have thrown caution in the wind, because there's no way you can feel like you're winning that fight after those 4 rounds and how the fight's going.
Agreed. Yeah, 4 was my biggest flip-flop. Part of the reason I'll rewatch this, because my first time watching, I scored 4 for Corey, and then I realized no human on planet Earth scored 4 for Corey. And I was like, what did I get wrong here? Was I distracted? And you know what, though? It is kind of nuanced, because watching the first time around, that is another round where Corey was able to put Umar on the back foot. However, Corey's offense was largely landing on the guard, and Umar's counters in that round
We're actually
he really
nice.
started to figure out. Yeah. And I guess in the first time watching at the sports book, I wasn't able to appreciate the counters. I was just seeing one guy move forward and the other guy move backwards. That'll be a theme that in the Sharp Bullet fight as well. And the counters,
Oh
I
yeah, I
guess
forgot about that.
I had to like it was easier to appreciate the counters. I guess I don't know if it was the volume that helped with that or just being more focused, but you gotta be dialed in to appreciate the counter game. And so, yeah, obviously I switched that on my rewatch, gave 4 to Umar. Optically, he was getting put on the back foot, but those counters were really nice and the most damaging shots of the fight.
Yeah, that's what 4 was for me. Was Umar won the damage battle in 4, and if Corey's not getting takedowns or fence control, it's not real control. I know octagon generalship is a thing, but it's tertiary, not even secondary. So, yeah, I had 4 to Umar, and then in 5, I really wanted to see Corey just absolutely go for it. Unleash the striking, just try to paint the wall with Umar's face. But man, he kind of stuck to his same game plan, and it allowed Umar, who had figured out the game plan by that point, to win the round comfortably.
Exactly. And like, I don't think Corey broke in round 5. However, I'll use the word like frustration / like
Exasperation, bro. It seemed like he was just tired, and like he was like, I fucking did everything that we planned for, and I just could not get like the openings I thought I would get.
Make another football comparison. It's like when you spend all week practicing this new wrinkle,
Oh my
and
god!
then it just doesn't work.
I can't tell you how much that would have. I appreciate what you're saying, because as an offensive guard, like anytime that we could add a small like addition to a play, like even bringing the fullback across from a different formation and cutting him backside to get a weak side block so we could pull a tackle, like shit like that is important against teams that have like bad defensive ends or bad edge pressure. And so like we would spend this whole week doing that, and then it just wouldn't be there in the game, and it was like, how is this? It's frustrating, and it's almost inexplicable.
Yeah, and you don't have anywhere to really pivot because you spent all your time fucking working on this.
Right.
And no, you could see the frustration growing, and Corey was just like, I feel like he even maybe shrugged at one point of the round, like, fuck, like, what do you want me to do with this guy? And then, so, I mean, all that being said, 49-46 for Umar. I think different people scored different rounds. But, yeah, if you gave Corey more than one round, I don't think that's the move. Corey, at best, won one round. I will say I don't love the 50-45. I think you can find a round in there for Corey. But my 48-47 was kind of out of line, and I'm glad I rewatched it. That being said, Umar up to 2 in my power rankings.
Deservedly so. Deservedly so. Sean at 1. Probably, what do you have, Merab at 3, I'm going to assume?
Merab at 3. And then it gets kind of murky after that because, like, you got Piotr, you got Corey. Piotr beat Corey, but Corey's been more active since that fight. I don't know. You could probably flip-flop those. I'm not dying on any hill. I think what we have here, though, is almost like we have at heavyweight. We have to do the Jones and Aspinall tier, and then there's everything else. Like at bantamweight, as deep as the division is, I think there's 3 elite guys, and we'll find out if Merab's in there. I think Merab is, but we'll find out soon enough at the Sphere. But
it's funny. My top 3 is identical to yours, and I almost have it tiered the same way. Not even almost. It is. It's those 3, and I have Merab like in there only because I could see Merab giving Umar big trouble, and then I could also see. I could see Merab just waxing everyone else below them, if that makes sense.
Because then there's the next tier that's like, in my opinion, Jan, Sandhagen, Aldo, and Figgy.
Yes, that is exactly who it is. And then you have the Chito tier next.
Sonya Dongs, the Kyler Phillips, the Cheetos, the Bautistas. You have that tier, but maybe even the Cejudos. Like right. You have that tier guy.
And then after that, you start getting into like the fonts. The fucking, I mean, you're getting close to Talbot. Like, you're starting to get into, like, actual, like, hot rising prospects at that point.
Exactly. The Talbots, the Nakamuras, the Marcus McGee's, the Basharats. Yeah, for sure, brother. So bantamweight is, like, it's crazy because, like, it's been so deep for so long. that it was almost like an amoeba, but I think the cream's rising to the top. Like literally, it's been like a 3-year process of like the cream rising to the top.
It's a great point because you do have like the B plus tier guys, like the 3 to 4 names we mentioned with Figgy and Sandhagen and those guys that are all good challengers, all respectable wins for your resume, and will be good, like memorable fighters. But they're not going to be the champions of the bantamweight division in this time. The 3 guys
Like,
we named definitely could be.
Exactly. All those 3 guys could probably beat each other on any given night. But then that B tier, especially after watching Umar Corey, like I think if anybody in that B tier gets matched up with anybody in that A tier, we're looking at like minus 400.
That's how I feel, is that like the B tier guys are going to put on good fights with those guys. They're not going to get the wins.
For sure. And then Corey, man, you know what? I wouldn't mind seeing Corey and Davison. I know Corey's coming off a loss and Davison's coming off a win. We'll get to that, but like, I wouldn't mind seeing that matchup.
I think it makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
Although
man.
I will say, Figgy on very fun.
Matchup's so good. Like
height wise, length
former
wise,
champs,
and Jan wants to box in the pocket, whereas Figueiredo wants to throw bombs and counterpunch, and isn't a terrible grappler. Neither is Peter Yan. Like that's a fun fight.
That's a better fight. As a fan, the fan in me, but like almost like to almost make an actual like meritocracy bracket. I think Corey Figgy makes sense, but like the fan in me that's going to be pounding a long drink watching these fights on a Saturday night and wants to see Figgy yawn, if that makes sense. But we can keep it pushing here to the co-main that I honestly don't think should have been the co-main. Like I'm honestly kind of annoyed at the Shara hype. Like I don't like I Shara's
even though you
good.
won money on it.
Bets on this fight. Shout out.
You know what, bro? Think about this. I was one ill-fated decision, and I should have. I don't. If you'd been standing next to me, you would have probably said like, not by decision. I'd be like, oh, over. I was this close to a plus 700 parlay just on the spot. Last 3 fights of the night for people at home, and we'd already cashed big.
You know, we were at the Peppermill Sportsbook here in Reno. Well, we got like a little table. I don't want to like him and our other buddy Dylan that was watching the fights with us. Like how we never watch fights live at the sports book, so you kind of wanted to take advantage of it and like go place a bet like in person, and you know it's kind of for fun. And then so I stayed at the table, but you're right. I would have 1,000% told you to go over / Shara by decision
because everything else was fire.
Yep. And then, but as far as the Shara hype, I'm not saying he shouldn't be hyped, but I'm saying like, why is he being more hyped than say? I mean, you could argue maybe not Bo Nickel, but in a way, like I'm higher on Bo Nickel. I could argue I'm higher on Joe Pyfer. I'm high on Kopylov.
I'll say this: they treat Magomedov like he is the Middle Eastern Bo Nickel, and I do not see that. I mean, if you're struggling to beat Oleksiejczuk, I scored the first round of this fight for Oleksiejczuk, and I'll die on the hill that Oleksiejczuk won the first round of this fight.
Bro, me too. And this is another one I had to rewatch. My initial scorecard was wild. Watching it live at the sportsbook, I had 30-27 Oleksiejczuk, but I knew that was wild. And I was like, I gotta rewatch this, and I'm glad I did. And there were some similarities to the Sandhagen Umar fight, where when you're watching a fight with no volume in a crowded sports book, maybe you have some friends there, some drinks flowing, like little side conversations happening. I think you're going to overvalue like forward pressure. Like, I was just watching this TV and one guy was walking the other guy down. But like I said, much like it was at round 4 in the Umar Corey fight, it's hard to appreciate like the nuanced counters. And in this case, like the body work, like how impactful are these body shots. And upon rewatching it, obviously, I valued that much more. But yeah, to your credit, 2 judges scored this 30-27.
Right, which is so crazy.
I'm giving Oleksiejczuk one, like, we'll both die on that hill, puff out our chest. Like, he got a knockdown, for God's sake.
That's what
and he marched him down.
And clearly won the damage battle, got a knockdown, and didn't get taken down / controlled the center of the octagon. I don't know how he loses that round.
The the cheeky elbow that caused the cut, and it wasn't even a bad cut. It was a casual take.
It's
if you give that round to Shara because of that cut, casual take in my opinion.
I'd say getting wobbled and dropped is way more damage than a cut that a guy like literally doesn't even react to. It just breaks his skin open.
Oleksiejczuk has like fight-ending power, so when he lands his left hand, which is his power hand, and you drop, like that's not nothing. Like that's not fluky.
Right.
Like he's marching you down and landed a nuclear left. Like that's what he does. Like that's literally his whole game plan. So like when that works, you can't say it's fluky.
This also was the third leg of our parlay that we gave out, parlay of the week, plus 185, I believe it was, which we did ride and did cash. Shout out to all you people that rode with. Got some juicy other takes on the two other. Actually, Dominic, not only did Dominic get this 3-leg parlay right, he called the method of victory in each 3 of the legs.
Yeah, and I had a Shara by decision ticket at like plus 320.
That's what I'm saying. No, you actually bet.
Yeah.
And you should have. Think if you just thrown the Shara decision on your other parlay though.
Oh, I know.
We're talking like plus 2200 type shit.
Would have been so juicy. But your boy did best weekend I've had at the sports book in quite some time. So
it was nice.
That's why you should watch our beat, and we gave it all to you for free. Check out our Beefy Bet show on the same channel. Hit subscribe.
If you guys need a method of victory to bet, just come to our channel. We're
hot.
It's a grand slam. It's welcome to Denny's. Welcome to Beefy Denny's. Serving grand slam methods of victory.
Yeah, I think that's 2 weeks in a row. I'm like 3 for 3. I guess technically I was 3 for 4, but one of them was a long shot sprinkle. But yeah, I guess I'm technically 6 for 7 on method of victory given out on our betting show.
It's not the first time you've cashed a method of victory parlay. You've done that 3 times now.
Yep. Yes, sir. Thank you. Thanks for shining my old wheels up. But, No, and then upon further review, 2 and 3 were Shara rounds. Like I said, Chick was marching him down all 15 minutes, but in rounds 2 or 3, Shara really started to figure out the counters, the timing, and sharpened up his own defense to where like Oleksiejczuk was whiffing and hitting there most of rounds 2 and 3. So me and Harrison are both going to die on the hill that Oleksiejczuk won round 1 with that knockdown. Now, like I said, rounds 2 and 3 were a little bit of an optical illusion when I was watching at the sportsbook with the distractions because Oleksiejczuk was walking forward basically all 15 minutes of this fight. But in rounds 2 or 3, Shara really started to figure out the counters, the timings, and sharpened up his own striking defense where he stopped eating those lefts because that's basically all Oleksiejczuk has is like a big looping left hand. So Shara was able to kind of solve the puzzle in rounds 2 or 3. I got to say, though, man, when I see Shara fights against these like lower mid-tier middleweights, many things that aren't going to work against the top heavyweight, middleweights, excuse me. Which is why I'm so lukewarm on this hype train.
Like, what do you have Shara ranked? Because I have him getting polished by Kopylov and Holland.
I have him below both those guys.
Not even. I'm not even saying below. I'm saying he's getting finished by both those guys.
Hard for me to imagine that Gregory Rodriguez couldn't solve that puzzle. Like, I think he probably could. And you throw in the jiu-jitsu that he's a world champion at.
Interesting fight because Horsemeat does move just straight line forward, and Shara does love to like move backwards and off the center line. So like, I would like to see Shara against a guy that can strike in the pocket and that has good footwork. That's what I would like to see, which is
Chris
a Kopylov.
Curtis?
Oh, Chris Curtis would work Shara. Now, that could also be the most boring fight of all time. There, you do run that risk.
Counter-striker on counter-striker seems gross to watch.
Right, you run a hard risk. That's why I like Kopylov, because Kopylov has good enough footwork to press him and keep him on the cage side and put big work on him. Hell, I even think a Brad Tavares could be a hard fight for Shara.
Like anybody that can wrestle, like an Andrew Muniz, like I think could probably
Muniz would be a sick challenge for Shara. Kyle Borralho would melt Shara.
Kyle Borralho just got booked against
Cannonier. I actually just saw that.
Like, UFC's clearly saying he's a tier above, but like I don't know. Like I'd probably take Joe Piper. I'm for sure taking Bo Nickel. Like we said, we both like Kevin Holland. We both like Kopylov. See, and this is where power rankings aren't perfect. Like I have Ruzboyev above him, but I can see Ruzboyev like being too simple. I can see Shara figuring that out.
Ruzboyev at 185 is a better fighter than when he cuts to 70. When he was cutting to 70, that's a mistake.
Agreed. And then there's like Gastelum, who like.
I think Gastelum would actually lose that. He's bad against counter strikers.
Exactly. So like I said, power rankings aren't perfect. But like, what about even like a Rodolfo Vieira, which is straight up striker versus grappler? Like, if he gets him on the ground, like it's going to be a big fucking problem.
I think Pfeiffer and Magomedov is the fight to make. If you just ask me outright right now, fuck it, why not? Like we've seen Pfeiffer lose, so you got nothing to lose having him lose because you've already. It's not like he's unblemished in his Contender Series / UFC career. And then with Magomedov, like give him a striker that comes forward, give him a matchup he likes, but I don't think he can survive that power. Like if Oleksiejczuk's landing, Pfeiffer's putting him the fuck out.
Bro, copy paste. You pulled that out of my brain. I was getting ready to say that exact like sentence. Like, yes, like if you're getting dropped by Oleksiejczuk, you are getting slapped by Pfeiffer.
And
then
Pfeiffer's
you throw
big left hand too. Like he's a lefty.
Athlete and a better grappler. Like I think Pfeiffer could mix in a takedown or two.
Do you know why it matters if you're a good lefty against Shara? He doesn't have a right eye.
Valid point. Super valid point. But I mean, it's so hard to like it sounds like I'm being a negative Nancy here. I mean, the guy's 14-0.
No, it's
just got a big win on a
it's-
co-main, but like
It's the way they
Go
force him on us, bro. It's nothing with you. It's the way the promotion is selling us a good that is low quality goods. Like, don't sell me a high end good and have it be made of dog shit.
I think the record's kind of padded. Like, I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm not convinced he's better than Kopylov. Like, I know Kopylov stubbed his toe here and there, but, like, I'm not convinced he's a better MMA fighter than Kopylov. And then, like, yeah, and then there's a bunch of, like, weird matchups. Like him versus Bruno Ferreira would be a banger.
Ooh,
like,
fun fight.
But, and he can win that. I'm not saying Bruno Ferreira would for sure win that, but, like, he could win that. And I think, like, I don't feel that way about Bo Nickel. Like, I don't think Bruno Ferreira could beat Bo Nickel. It's like, hey, like, I don't know. I don't kind of get the hype here. But let's keep it pushing to a fight that's super impactful in the bantamweight division. We already talked about it a little bit on our, main event recap. But we got former champ Figueiredo, ranked 6, taking on former challenger Chito Vera, ranked 4. This was a number 1 contenders fight, but like definitely you could say it's like a quarterfinals match. You know what I mean in this division. 4 versus 6. Now this one is pretty cut and dry on the scoring. I thought this fight was very easy to score and had a very clear winner.
Yeah, me too. This is one of the. I was gonna say actually, this is probably the only fight in the book that I scored completely correct, and that's just because like it was so damn easy to score. Now,
yes, for sure.
That being said, the judges don't necessarily agree with us that it's so easy to score, but I thought it was.
That's interesting. Yeah, I don't even have the word close in my notes. Like, I thought round 1 was clearly Davison. He got 2 takedowns. And now I do admit it was pretty even on the feet, but I mean, it's just some caveman math here. If it's pretty even on the feet and one guy gets 2 takedowns, like what are we even talking about?
That's exactly right. And then in round 2, I thought round 2, close round. I thought Figgy won the damage.
Oh, damn. Are we not seeing this eye to eye? Because round 2, I gave the Chito because he was defending the takedowns, and then he did win the significant strike numbers. I could see if he didn't have access to the numbers. I did, so I used that. The judges don't. So I could see it being harder to score without access to those numbers, but fuck, I had access to them, so I used them. Yeah, but I thought Chito stuffed the takedowns, which we just said.
I thought Figueiredo outlanded him in round 2. I'll be honest, I didn't see that.
Okay, yeah. So, like, basically, I said round 1, we said that the striking was pretty even. Figgy won with the takedowns. Round 2, it was pretty close, but Chito had the significant strike number advantage, and he defended the takedowns. Figgy got no takedowns at 2, so logic train.
Fair.
I'll give that one to Chito.
I mean, two judges agree with you. It's just Hadi Muhammad Ali is one of them. So I'm like,
And then round 3 is the round where Figgy gets the knockdown. Apparently, I knew Chito had never been knocked out, but I didn't know he had never been knocked down.
Right. Also, yes, a knockdown, but like Chito's eyes don't flash up. Like he keeps his eyes on Figgy the entire time. It's honestly like, if you were gonna get knocked down, like that's the one you could be the most proud of, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it was almost like a forced knockdown, not a flash KO,
like a push knockdown.
I think that's fair to say. Regardless, I thought it was enough to win him the round. I also like the way the Figgy went to the body in that round. Figgy got the win, man. And crazy, because that moves him up, I think, to 4 in the UFC's rankings. I haven't officially checked, but he beat 4, so it's somewhere around there. You know what? When I went to do my power
So
rankings.
he's officially 5. Umar is number 2. Corey's 4.
Interesting. Now you know what I struggled with when I went to do my power rankings is and Jose Aldo. I know Jose Aldo took the little break to box, and we view him as old. He's 1 year older than Figgy. I know you could argue a lot more fight miles, and you'd be correct. I think that like his wins are better than Figgy's wins. Like if you look at Aldo's bantamweight wins, and I'm not even talking about like pretty recently, maybe since like 2021. Like I'll take him over Figgy's wins.
It'd be an interesting fight. It'd be a really interesting fight. I think it's very close, but I think what that ultimately brings me to the point of is that like Figueiredo will not be a champion at bantamweight. Love him, but he's in the B plus tier. He's not an A plus bantamweight. He's just not.
He probably and maybe he could have been if he came over like 3-4 years sooner.
Good
Like
point.
because you have a championship window. Now he chose to use that championship window, killing himself at flyweight.
And he did get the belt. To be
He
fair,
did. Oh, for sure. And like maybe that age range, like championship window figure, if he just fought at 135 the whole time, like maybe he could have. But you're right. I don't think 36, 37, 38-year-old Figgy gets bantamweight gold. I agree with. And then as far as Chito, man, this kind of goes along with our take. I remember leading up to the O'Malley Chito fight, we were both our take was that like this isn't a championship caliber guy, and that this was kind of a unique scenario why he even got the title shot. Wasn't even the true number one contender. We always said that was Marab, even when Chito got it. And so I don't want to say fraud check because he's not like a fraud, but as far as like a title level fraud check, you know what I'm saying?
I have a fun take for Cheeto, which now seeing they put him at 7, I thought it'd be 7 or 8. Him and Mario Batista, man. That's the fight. 7 versus 11. Let him headline a UFC fight night card and get Batista some shine. And it's a fight Batista could lose. I'm not saying that it's like that's a close money line. Probably Cheeto's the slight favorite. But good fight. Fun fight, and you need to get the test from Mario Batista. And who do you want to have? You want to have him fight Song Yadong or Rob Font? No. And you're not going to have him fight Jose Aldo. We all know that's not going to happen.
I got a name for you. The guy that starches everybody versus the guy that can't be starched. Montel Jackson, Chito Vera. Like nobody, like that would be impossible to bet. You have a guy who like knocks everybody out in 60 seconds versus a guy that never gets knocked out. That would be impossible to bet.
That would be so fun. I honestly think though they'll probably end up doing a Kyler Phillips Montel Jackson.
Just got booked against somebody. I forget who it is here. I've got the internet here. I wonder if it's on Tapology yet. Let me look, and then we'll keep it pushing. But yeah, I mean, as we always say, there's so many fun matchups to make at bantamweight. So many good prospects and so many well-known vets. Oh, Rob Font. So Phillips got booked with Font.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. It's a good matchup. But yeah, to your point, we can keep it pushing. We can go to man. Actually, I was surprised by this fight, and nothing to do with the fight. But everything to do with the post-fight. That being said, it's Tony Ferguson taking on Michael Chiesa. Chiesa was like a minus 600. I mean, a huge favorite. We both had a sprinkle on the Tony Ferguson by sub Tony Ferguson by sub bet. Reason being, Chiesa's lost by Darce 4 times. Tony has 5 Darce wins. That's 9 Darces between the two of them, and one guy all on one side and one guy all on the other. I don't know. It seemed like it was worth a sprinkle. And in hindsight, I don't even hate it, even though Tony looked completely washed and looked like he had no place in the UFC cage. I don't even care.
Yeah, no regrets. I mean, especially on a day where we came in the green. I'll say, if that's a day where we ate dick at the
and
sports
we
book,
needed that one, yeah.
That would have sucked. But when we both came out in the green, I had one of my best days at the sports book ever. It's hard to really have regrets on the 1 unit sprinkle here. It was plus 900. But yeah, I mean, this was a hot knife through butter. Tony is so unbelievably washed. Like this fight was not even memorable. Like what Chiesa got the takedown, went immediately to the back and immediately got the choke. Like there was literally no defense from Tony.
Tony peeled the hands once and let the choke sink deeper as soon as he peeled the hand. And you know what's even sad about it, man, is that we had talked about how like rear naked choke defense in today's MMA isn't even that hard. Like it's hard to submit guys with rear naked chokes. Like, it's almost like the Chael method of, like, you got to be looking for a way out.
he literally didn't really try to defend it. It was like a practice, like drilling. It was
Oh, he
yeah,
tried to flex his neck. That was his defense. Flex his neck and tuck his chin. It was like, I mean, it was the ultimate symbol of washed, right? Because like speed and power leave you obviously at a point, but like technique doesn't have to leave you. There's 65-year-old men that can roll with great technique. This was just
or
like
like
Tony's over it.
I'm wearing my King of the Cage shirt right now. Like we could go down to the fucking El Dorado and see better like submission defense at like local shows. Like it
It's
was so low level the submission defense. You know, you could go to like a blue belt jiu-jitsu tournament and see better submission defense. Like it was really bad. And see it's so whack because like this narrative gets told that like Tony still wants to be there. Like actions speak louder than words, Tony. Like that you
that's
didn't
how I
look like
felt.
you wanted to be there.
That's
Like
how
you
I
didn't
felt.
look yeah.
Also, man, like if you think about like the way he's moved from like he used to have like a legitimate big gym that he trained at, and then like they kicked him out, and then like he had his own team, and then he got rid of all them and got like a new team, and now he's training at a place where like it's just him that trains there and his coach and like two dudes, and he was talking about all the sparring he did, and I'm like, well, are you sparring like the one guy that works out with you? Like, what the hell does that mean? So like, yeah, this Tony's story is one of those ones that like you got to kind of study for the history of martial arts because like he trips over that cord before the Khabib fight and he goes 2-8 over his next 10, 8 in a row with losses. I mean, it's a meteoric fall, as meteoric as the 12 fight win streak was.
Yeah, yeah, the highest of highs and the lowest of lows for Tony Ferg. I think Chiesa, you know, because everybody's talking about Tony, you know, we'll give the guy that actually won the fight a little bit of shine here. I actually, in a weird way, like his call out. I don't predict for you that it'll happen.
Who did he call out? Because you know, like we told everyone on the breakdown, we're at the book. I couldn't fucking hear, and we had to ask for them to put ABC on a TV. The shit was embarrassing.
Yeah, that was like he called out Colby Covington, who Colby
I
Covington's
love
gonna
it.
act like me too.
Colby's gonna act like
act
he's leagues above Chiesa, but guess what, Colby? You're inactive, and all you've done is lose lately. One guy's got a win recently, and his name's Chiesa.
Exactly. No, like I don't, and especially it wasn't like the Leon fight was like close. Like the Kamaru losses, I think people view differently because they were competitive and all that. But like the Edwards fight was
He got
so
beat
bad.
up for 25 minutes.
Yeah, snooze fest, and I mean it was awful. And so here for it because all right, if you're a Colby fan, like let's get your guy a win. He desperately needs it, and if you're a Chiesa fan, like that's a big fight for your guy. Like that'll get him higher on the card placement and all that. Get him back on a pay per view.
Chiesa needs any big name that'll take him at this point because, like, bro, I'm out on Chiesa too. I'm just even though he looked good, I know where his career is at. All the same as Tony. It's just he might be at the start of the L streak that when Tony started it, but Tony was fighting way better competition. If that makes sense.
Yeah, and you could argue this is just like a little pause in that, like a little halftime in the L streak because he was on a 3 L streak coming into this Tony fight. What is this Tony win even worth? And then I probably think he loses to Colby, even like whack old washed Colby. So, like I think maybe just like a little halftime in the L streak. Actually, I think if he probably fights Colby, loses and retires is my prediction for you.
Could see that. Could see that.
But let's keep it pushing because we've both got some hot, scorching takery coming for you on this strawweight bout. We got Mackenzie Dern ranked 7, taking on Lupi Godinez ranked 10. We didn't bet this one. I think we had Lupi as a 1-star. I think you sold me on that, so shout out to you on that one on our betting breakdown. And, man, we both fight for Lupi. I score it very much so. And this is another one where I rewatched it. And upon my rewatch, so because I scored it 29-28 for Lupi when we were at the sports book. And I was like, nobody seems to be agreeing with me. It was unanimous decision for Dern, so it wasn't even a split. Verdict had it, I believe, for Dern. I didn't really see anybody making this hot take on X. I'm here to make it for you, folks, and so is Harrison. Now, I don't know if he'll – like, I rewatched it. And I doubled down. I go 30-27 Godinez, and I'll tell you why. Now, that being said, I thought rounds 1 and 3 were close.
One and
So if
three are
you give
close, which I understand, but like, how does Dern get both of them?
I thought 2 was not close. The only round that wasn't close was
Agree.
a loopy round. So and yeah, I got to go to my rewatch notes here for this one. But yeah, round 1 close. I thought Godinez won the damage battle, which is supposed to be the number 1 criteria.
1 is the round where I'm okay if you give it to Dern just because of the control, the position, the takedown, the getting. I mean, does she get full mount by the end of the round? She does, yeah, for almost a minute, and then but really doesn't do anything with it. Like Loopy defends great, but it is a super dominant position.
But so I rewatched. She had full mount as like a means to jump that armbar.
Right.
Once she jumps the armbar, she obviously forfeits that position, and then spends the rest of the round attempting that armbar. But then Loopy defends the armbar, and Dern's only damage she gets off in the round is like hammer fist from bottom. Now they did look good because Loopy was in this weird position where she had to defend the armbar with her hands,
Right.
so she couldn't defend her face. And so she was just eating these shots, but they weren't elbows, punches from the back. And we can't like lose sight of that. Like that, winning a round off a failed armbar attempt and punches off your back. Now if Dern, you keep bringing up the full mount. I think if Dern stays in full mount and drops the ground and pound from that position, he for sure wins the round. She made the choice to jump the armbar, failed, and then throw punches from her back after losing like the first 3.5 minutes of the round on the feet. And if you go back and rewatch it, Loopy was landing some stiff counters in those first 3 minutes on the feet. Like, because Dern would kind of recklessly blitz in. We all know Dern has dog shit striking. And then Loopy would step into a counter. And it wasn't like it was wobbling Dern, but it was like just stopping her in her tracks. Like just straight, like, all forward momentum, and Dern would basically like sprint into these counters and just get like stonewalled. Like it'd be like me as a blitzing linebacker just getting like stood up. Like I don't get pancaked, but I just hit a brick wall. And like Loopy was doing that with the counters. So I said, I don't know if this is a hot take. I don't feel like it should be. Like Loopy for sure won the damage battle on the feet. Threw up a failed armbar and landed some, hammer fist from bottom. When you really look at it, I like Loopy's work. Like if I was coaching each fighter, give me that. I'd rather my fighter have Loopy's round.
I go back and forth on it. I thought it was 50-50 when we watched it. I liked Dern in the moment, so I did score the round. But I mean, that being said, like I said, I'm okay if you give Dern 1. I think that's the closest round of the fight because I think Loopy dominates 2. At 3 is close, but I thought Loopy had I don't know. Did you think Dern was closer to winning 3 than 1? Because I definitely thought that 1 was the closest round of the fight.
Yeah, I'll say the screwy part about round 2 is, and it kind of reminds me of Shar versus Oleksiejczuk. Round 2, Dern bust Loopy's nose, which I could see. I said about the Shara round, I could see kind of the casual take saying, like, oh, she won the damage.
Well, here's the thing, though. Every judge has the same scorecard, and they all give Loopy 2.
No, for sure. And I gave Loopy 2, obviously. She had the significant strike number advantage. Once again, the counters. The counters were nice.
The counters, yeah. And she defended the takedowns and didn't give up, like, control time.
And that's the round 2 where she ends the round in that like standing arm triangle attempt.
Yes, that's right. That's right.
I mean, it's a good visual to end the round.
It's a great visual just because it's the jiu-jitsu ace being put in a way to lose that is their best form of the art.
Sure. But like I said, to Dern's credit, she did bust up Godinez's nose a little bit in that round, but I'm glad nobody used that as a reason to give her that round. It would have been misleading.
I agree.
Yeah. And then round 3, see, round 3 might have been his best round, maybe, in my opinion, because, once again, wins a significant strike battle on the feet. And on the grappling exchange, it was like a scramble. Loopy ends up coming out on top of that.
That's
And
where
then,
I'm coming from. Is how does she lose 3? I'm okay with her losing 1. How does she lose 3? The grappling is essentially equal, if not in Loopy's favor, as crazy as that sounds. And then she wins the damage. I didn't think the damage was really that close in 3. I thought Dern tried to strike, did her best, but Loopy's the better striker, and that was on display in round 3.
much like round 2, she ends the round like in clinch control, completely like dominating the position and controlling Mackenzie Dern against the cage. So yeah, I end up. I told you it was a scorching hot take here, but I'm standing on business about it. Like it reflects in my power rankings. Like I scored this 30-27 Godinez. Dude, if we would have had a Godinez ticket, I would be heated.
Oh yeah, I'd be upset. I'd be upset because she did more than enough to win this fight. This almost felt like name value winning a fight, and I hate to say that.
Yeah, that's some boxing horse shit that I hate. And like I said, I reflected it in my power rankings, man. I'm actually moved Godinez up. I have her 9 in my power rankings. I do think there is some room where she could struggle with like the upper end of this division, whether it be a Marina Rodriguez and Andrade. I think Yan Xiaonan's a bad matchup for Lupi Godinez.
I'll say this though. With this loss, she's going to get a way easier matchup, and maybe we find a number that we can hammer.
I like where your mind's at. We're bettors here. Yeah. We're not coaches.
We're not
coaches. We're not matchmakers. We're bettors here.
I'm not worried about her career. I'm worried about my wallet.
And then, man, I moved Dern down a couple spots. I put her to 12. It's not like I plummeted her, but like, man, look, I can see Tabitha Ricci having some success against Dern. Like
me too. Any girl that has good hand speed with okay takedown defense, or even not even okay takedown defense, but good footwork, I could see Dern getting beat up. And
you know who else falls under that category? Amanda Hebos, I think, is like the fighter you just described.
Amanda Hebos, I think, would like mark Dern up bad.
So I couldn't drop Dern below Tisha Pennington. Obviously, she has a win over her, but I do believe that was a split decision. So I think Water's finding its level. I've never been that high on Dern. I think I kind of feel similar to Dern as I feel about Shara Bullet. Like, just kind of been shoved down our throats, overhyped, one-dimensional. I think they have a lot of parallels as far as, like, you can use a lot of similar ways to describe them both. So, like, what's Dern in the actual rankings now? What is she, 6, 7, 5?
Currently, Dern is now, oh my God, they dropped her one down to 8.
Agreed with me low key too. But that being said, like my power rankings, I have her at 12.
They dropped Dern 1 and didn't move Loopy at all. If that's not people telling, if that's not the media telling you that one girl won and didn't, I don't know what is.
That's some Abu Dhabi fuckery. I think, dude, that actually makes me feel good. Like, that's actually some pretty reinforcing evidence to my hot take.
I can't believe that. I am shocked. I mean, I'm happy about that because I agree. Like, I have Loopy winning 2 out of 3 rounds. You're winning 3 out of 3 rounds. It's remarkable to think that 3 judges only gave her 1 round.
Yeah, that's where I feel bad for Loopy. But Loopy seems to have the right attitude. She's in that right camp. I don't think she's going to let it stop her.
That's what I'm saying, bro. We're going to get a good number.
We are, and she's going to come out and smoke some Dana White Contender Series girl, or like a Bruna Brazil or somebody like that. Like, yeah.
Oh, please.
yeah, please. But yeah, that being said, man, let's keep it pushing to some lightweights. And man, Joel Alvarez, man, I'm gonna have to.
You hammered the breakdown on this. Hammered the goddamn breakdown.
Didn't bet it, unfortunately, but like. Joel Alvarez, I said, like, if we get a good Joel Alvarez, it's not going to be close. And that's exactly what happened. We didn't have confidence that we would get the good Joel Alvarez.
And that was why you crushed the breakdown of why we didn't bet it, why those both can be true at the same time, because it was a simple fact of, like, Brener's game to fight every single fight he shows up for. Alvarez picks and chooses when he shows up. Most of the time he does, but we've seen him not. It's a simple case of, like, if the Alvarez that we know is existing or that has the ceiling that we know is there shows up, Brener's fucked. If any sort of lesser version of Alvarez shows up, Brener's going to take advantage. And honestly, we were driving to the sportsbook during this fight, but from what I was seeing and hearing and watching, Alvarez was just beating the fuck out of Brener. Like, kept tagging him with such hard shots. The stiffest jabs down the center, and the length, the reach was on display for all, 13 and a half minutes of this fight?
Yeah, Joel Alvarez is known as a submission guy, but man, he was piecing up Brener on the feet, who's considered to be more of a striker. And I mean, the reach gap and the use of the reach gap was just fucking chef's kiss.
Also,
Bro, I go 10-8 in round one. I don't know if that's a hot take or not, but I remember we were talking about that in the car on the way to the pepper mill. That, like, I gave Alvarez a 10-8 in round one. I mean, damage, dominance, duration, man. If you look at the letter of the law.
right, that's what I was going to say, is no judge gives him a 10-8 here, and it is 3 Vegas judges. However, I think by definition of a 10-8, you have to give it. Because at no point in the round is Alvarez losing. I mean, he wins almost all 5 minutes, if not like 4 minutes, 40 seconds. He has Brener beat the fuck up. And, like, the round was dominant as hell. It's not like Brener did a lot of damage back.
Yeah, he like wobbled him like 3 times on the feet and then like ends the round in that super deep Darce attempt.
Right.
Yeah.
Which, like Alvarez a sub guy, and that Darce was deep as hell. Like, you could tell Brener was like, committing to, like, I'm going to have to try to ride this out. Like, I know there's short time. I just got to ride this.
And then, man, Alvarez, 21-3 record. Bro, if his name was Alvarezov, people would be fucking 6 to midnight.
Alvarezov.
But, like, he's from Spain. But man, the Spanish wave might be coming, bro. We got Taporia. You might, like, Joel Alvarez seems to be coming along.
It would be cool to see him get put on the card because he didn't take a lot of damage in this fight. The October 26th card needs him. Yeah, needs him.
I guarantee you that's the game plan. It has to be. It has to be. Now, and then, like, his only losses in the UFC back in 2019, which back then, like,
that
Alvarez
is different as well. Like, that is Magomedov was a top 10 fighter, and then he, like, got mentally broken and just retired. Like, he was still even good when he retired. He just decided, like, I'm not going to be a champion. I'm not going to do this if I don't want to be champion. It was, like, a super real person. Like, it was a weird deal.
And that was his UFC debut. So, like, obviously, like, I'm sorry. I give him a pass for that one. And then also, his last loss, Arman Sarukian. Like, the next title challenger, basically the second best lightweight on earth. Like, yeah, I'm going to give you a pass for that one too, champ. And so it's like, I'm kind of all in on Alvarez right now. Like, if he can be active and he can make weight, like, I'm here for it, bro.
I like him against, like, a Bobby Green or a Patty, if we're talking about, like, him being a ranked guy.
I moved him up to 16 in my power ranking,
and I
like, almost went higher than that.
He's right there.
I could have found a way to get him to, like, 12. I might still do it. Like, you just said Patty. I got Patty at 11. He could probably beat up Patty. Maybe. That's a
good fight. Him and Moicano, good fight.
Michael Chandler, Dan Hooker.
Good fight. Jalen Turner. Good. Oh, Jalen Turner would be so fun for the length. Jalen Turner would give Joel Alvarez problems. Because if Alvarez can't abuse his length advantage, very interesting fight.
I think Alvarez watches that Moicano tape and
subs
like,
him out.
This is what I'm gonna do. Like, that's the game plan.
That is
like how Sandhagen gave the Umar blueprint. Like, if you're a grappler and you watch that Money Moicano fight, you're like, oh, that like path of least resistance, right? But I mean, and then Brener. I think Brener is what we thought he was, or at least what I thought he was. Like, I have Brener at 32. Like, he's not a can, and his losses are to really good fighters, and he has some really good wins. But, like, I think he is kind of a brawler. Bit night out, but I don't see, like, elite in any one area. He's kind of small for the weight class. I mean, anybody's going to look small when you're fighting Alvarez, but like you said, there's other big guys. Like, he's not I don't know. I don't think he's a can, and I don't even think maybe he's a koozie. He's like a solid UFC pro lightweight.
That's how I feel about him. He's a guy you want in your organization because he's the depth that, like, helps guys define their position in the UFC.
And, like, the perfect test. Like, I would love to see maybe, like, or did he already fight Ribowicz? I forget. But, like, that level of guy, or like somebody else who was on this card, Vucinic, like him versus Vucinic next. Like,
which we will get to, but Vucinic is honestly nice, man. So Brener has the KO victory over Kudrsaladze. He has the decision loss to Oralbai. He has the win over Krzyzewski, win over Tukagov. Yeah, so he's won his first 3, lost his last 2. It's odd that he beat Tukagov and Kudrsaladze both in 2023. Krzyzewski, what the fuck ever, who cares? But then lost to Oralbai and Alvarez in 24.
I'm high on Orobai and Alvarez. Like, I think those are good L's.
Oh, I
Like,
agree. I'm just saying, like, the guys he's fought is crazy. Like, in
yeah,
a
tough
calendar
schedule.
year and a half, he's fought, aside from the one,
Kuchev.
easy Kushevsky, easy polishing. Now, granted, when he fought him, the dude was 14-2, but, like,
Yeah.
I don't know. Like, they give Brener tough fights. That's why
I gotta
agree with
add-
you, like, the 30 to 31 range is perfect.
I got an absolute heater that they need to book. Him versus Prado would be a war.
I think he beats Prado, though.
But I'm just saying, as a guy who's
Need it.
eats
Need it.
a piece of drinking a beer, like I'll watch that shit.
Need it.
Yeah, man, that breaks that rounds up our main card recap here. Pretty fun main card. I mean, very meaningful for a fight night. Good main card.
Oh,
Like, I'll take it.
Tremendous fight. It was ABC. It was Abu Dhabi.
Yeah.
It's essentially a free pay-per-view just because Abu Dhabi's paying them enough money to make it pay-per-view level.
Minus the belt for sure, brother. But yeah, man, that wraps it up. Check us out on X at Beefy Breakdown. We got an Instagram at Beefy Boys Breakdown. Hit that subscribe more so to get these method of victories that we're giving you for free on our betting shows, which usually drop on Thursdays. So yeah, hit that subscribe button. Let's cash these tickets together, and we'll be back to break down the prelims because we break down every single fight on every single card. Thanks for watching, yo.